Welcome to Kevin's chat room. Today, I'm going to talk about how I got into UF as an international student, as well as some general helpful tips about how to apply for college. I'm going to talk about 6 main topics, and I'll put the timestamps here so you can jump to whichever one you want. I'm going to talk about how did I pick for colleges, where I applied, why I picked UF, how did I get into UF, and some tips for applying for college, and things you need to know as an international student college applicant. Let's get started. So I based on a tier system to apply for college. So safe schools are the schools that I'm 90% sure I can get in. And mid-range schools are the one that I think I can get in, but I'm not quite sure if I'm there yet. And the reach schools are the ones you have to work a little harder for to get into. So basically what I did was I made an Excel sheet. And in that Excel sheet, I had information like their SAT averages, their 25 percentile score, 75 percentile score, their acceptance rate, also their tuition, and also the majors they offer that I'm interested in. Those information you can either find on Google or on their official website. I would say, especially for majors, definitely look into their program, their colleges, and what the school has to offer. And if you really like their program, if you like the classes they have, definitely look at the majors you want to apply for, but also just to explore some other majors that you might be interested in and see if the school has it or not. Last but not least, also check the rank. I know that rank doesn't mean everything, but it's nice to have that information so you can have a better informed decision. So for the ranks, I checked their national ranks, like if there's a public school, what's the rank within a public school or a private school, and also the program you want to apply for. So for example, for me, I also checked their ranking in engineering. So either undergraduate engineering or graduate school engineering. So that gives you a ballpark of how well that program is at the school. So that tells you how much time or resources the school is willing to put into that program. Now let's talk about where I applied. I applied for 9 schools, and they're Johns Hopkins, University of Southern California, University of Rochester, University of Miami, Ohio State University, University of Florida, SUNY Buffalo, Centre College, and University of Kentucky. So like I said, I basically picked 3 schools in each tier. So for my safe schools, I picked SUNY Buffalo, Centre College, and University of Kentucky. And for my mid-range, I had UF, Ohio State, and University of Miami. And for my reach school, I had Johns Hopkins, USC, and University of Rochester. Of those schools, I got rejected by Johns Hopkins, which is my dream school, and University of Southern California. I got waitlisted by Ohio State, University of Rochester, and University of Miami. And all the other schools, I got accepted. I'm not going to go into too much details about how I picked their schools. It's just based on my judgment of their school and my ability and their program that I picked their school. So let's talk about why I decided to come to UF. So after I got accepted, I was really excited. And I really wanted to come down and see the school myself. So my host family and I actually drove down from Kentucky and made a campus tour. And that campus tour definitely showed me what UF is like and just the overall atmosphere of the school. Since we came in April, the school was still in session. So we were able to see what students' life is like. Just seeing everyone running around on campus, and I could feel that the school had energy in it. And to be honest, I really cared about UF's rank. So when I applied, UF was top 8 public universities in the US and about top 30 something of all schools in the US. And now I think it's top 7 public and still top 30 something in the US. I would say rank is not everything, but it's definitely something that's worth looking into. There's a reason that the school is ranked higher or lower, but maybe in the ranking system, there are factors that are not as important to you. For example, sports, maybe if you don't care about sports, then if a school doesn't have a good sports team, their rank might be lower, but that doesn't impact their academic ability. So that's just an example of how rank might be skewed. It is important to look at rank, but don't make it the decision-making factor for you. So when I look at the rank, I also look at their engineering program. And actually, when I had the campus visit, I went to their college engineering undergraduate advising team and actually talked to someone who is an engineering student himself, and also talked to some advisors and just let them walk me through what the program is like. So I would say if you have a chance to visit the campus, definitely see the campus, view the campus itself, but also use that opportunity to ask around, ask the students, ask the professors, advisors if you have the chance to meet them. That would definitely be helpful. And also Gainesville just has very nice weather. I've never lived in the South. I was born in the northern part of China, and when I moved to the US, I lived in Kentucky. So I never lived in a place with palm trees, nice weather, although it rains a lot, but it's not too bad. Another factor is UF's tuition is really on the cheaper side for international students. With limited financial aid and scholarship, tuition can be really important in your decision-making factor. So definitely think about how much the school costs, how much aid you're able to get. So that was a very important factor for me. By the way, if you are watching this and you're an international student and you are not in high school yet, I know there's a lot of ifs, do some research. Some states might let you be qualified for in-state tuition if you went to high school there for a certain amount of time. For example, for both Kentucky and Florida, if you went to their high school for 3 years, you are qualified for that in-state tuition. So this can be a huge money saver. If I knew I was going to come to UF, then coming to Florida for high school would be really beneficial. Now let's talk about what I did in high school that ensured my highest chance of getting into the schools I wanted. So for extracurricular activities, I'm going to talk about in schools and outside of schools. So for school activities, I was in the student government my junior and senior year. I was also in our school orchestra. I was also in beta club, and I also tutored algebra for a really short while in junior year. And outside of school, I volunteered at a local hospital for 2 summers. And for the second summer, I got into a more selective program. And the reason I did that was because schools want to see consistency, but also progress. I'm going to talk about that in depth later. And for AP, IB, dual enrollment classes, since my school only offered AP classes, I took some of them. I took, I think, 6 of AP classes. My advice would be, if you're available, definitely take as many as you can because they do count for college credit. And although taking the test is like, I think, $90-something, it would still be way cheaper comparing to college tuition. But it also can be a huge time saver. So for me, those classes really give me a head start in college. So for example, I took AP Calc AB and BC. So when I came to UF, I could go straight into Calculus 2 or even Calculus 3. They definitely require a lot of work and dedication, but I would say it's worth it. Another important factor they look at is your essay. So for me, I wrote about my experience as an international student with my host family. I'm not going to go into too much details here, but I will tell you that I opened the essay with, my host family opened their door to me and their lives have never been the same. And I ended the essay with, open your door to me and your campus will never be the same. I know, it's really cringy. So basically what I'm trying to say is I can make a positive change on your campus. So a tip for writing the essay, tell a story. The admission officers will sit in a room reading essays all day and they want to see something interesting. If you show them a story, they tend to be more intrigued and they want to learn more about you. And through those stories, make sure you show your traits, strengths, and also personalities. All your achievements, activities can be shown via other parts of the application, but the essay is really the part where you show who you are as a person. Your personalities, your story, those can be very important when applying for college. And also a fun fact, the application said I can submit a resume, and back in high school I had no idea what a resume is. So what I did was submit a 3 pages long resume that had basically my whole life stories on it, including like my favorite movies. Yeah, I know, you live and you learn. So now I want to talk about some tips for applying to any colleges, not just UF, but just in general, how to apply for college. So ultimately, the schools want to know what you can bring to their campus. One thing I would say is be consistent, either in any on or off campus activities, student organizations, be consistent. That shows your dedication, passion, and skills. It shows them that you are passionate about something. Also, work with your community. Take actions, make some impacts. It is nice to have a high academic achievement, but also universities want to know what you can bring to not only their campus, but also the greater area of the whole community. Now I want to talk about active leadership role. I know it sometimes can feel like a popularity contest in your school to either run for something or apply for something. It would be a nice plus if you have an active leadership role on campus. And there are many ways you can do that. You can either start a club, or you can just do something you're passionate about. You can be an advocate of something. You can try to educate your peers about a certain topic. You can also lead something in your community. It doesn't have to be all in school. Just think about something you can do to actively engage other people. And one of the most important things people tend to overlook is recommendation letters. They can be extremely important. So I picked people who I had a lot of interactions with. That way they can write not only about your academic achievement, but also your work ethic, time management skills, and how you perform on a team. I would recommend diversify your targets. So I asked 3 teachers and the program director of the hospital where I volunteered at. And those 3 teachers are my biology/anatomy teacher, my AP economics/government teacher, and my 11th grade English/college writing teacher. So normally I would have 1 teacher for just 1 class. But the way my school worked, I was able to have those 3 teachers for 2 classes. So the more exposure you have to that teacher, the more they can know about you. And when you ask them to write you something, send them a list of the schools they are interested in applying. And also, like the resume I mentioned before, a list of things that can remind them who you are. For example, what classes did you take with them? What did you do in that class? What did you learn from that class? And also your other accomplishment, your hobbies, your passion, just something that can help them better learn who you are as a person. And after they write it for you, make sure you send them a thank you note. A small gesture of kindness can go a long way. I'll talk more in depth about my high school experience in another video, so stay tuned. Another thing I want to say is try to gather as much information about your school as possible. So things like academic performance, student experience, off-campus life. You are going to college to study, but you're also going to spend the rest 4 years of your life in that city. So make sure you like the climate, you like the location. So make sure you look at other things, not just the school. And the last tip I have is your major does not equal to your career. Doing something like exploratory or undecided major is okay. It even offers more flexibility and time to explore. And it's not fair to ask someone who's 17 or 18 to know what they're going to do for sure for the rest of their life. So now I want to talk about things you need to know as an international student college applicant. So there are some extra things you need to provide to the schools. So they generally want a financial statement of some sort to either prove the source of funds for your tuition or some kind of statement that proves source of income or source of saving. I would say probably not all schools require it, but most of the schools I applied to did want that. And something else you might encounter is international transcript. So I did my 9th grade in China. So the way the school structure worked in China is 1st through 6th grade is elementary school, and 7th through 9 is secondary or middle school, and 10, 11, 12 are high school. So I came to the US after I graduated from middle school, so I came at 10th grade. But in the US, high school goes from 9th to 12th grade. So that's why I need my 9th grade transcript, and you do need to translate that into English. And since I went to high school in the US, I would say I had a few less hoops to jump through. However, the schools I applied to still treated me as international student applicant because there are certain paperwork they have to issue for us. For example, the I-20. You might not know what it is. It's basically a paperwork that allows us to both enter and stay in the US. It's extremely important. So if you're an international student, be sure to check with your school when can you get your I-20 because you need that to apply for a US visa, and that can definitely take a while. So the one takeaway I want you to learn from this video is ultimately the school wants to know what you can bring to their university, and you can do that by showing your dedication, passion, and skills. So make sure you wrap those around in a beautiful story to make them intrigued and make them want you on their campus. All right, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Your support is my biggest motivation. That's been it. Good luck on your college application journey. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.